Hi everybody, Frankie here. Thank you guys so much for supporting the website and our products. We really appreciate it. Hopefully these can help you speed up your time, not speed up your time, speed up your workflow and save you some time. So first things first, most of our products are MOGRTs, which means motion graphic templates. And these are templates that we've made in the past, and then you can import them into Premiere Pro and hopefully help you out. Go to Window and then go down here to Graphics Templates. Just click on that, make sure that that's checked. Mine's already open over here. You can see I have a bunch over here. Not all of these are for sale or really even finished yet, but they will be by the time that this video is up. So first one I'll quickly show you guys is the Tarkov quest. It's like the quest tracker or task tracker or whatever. You can see it on the website. So you literally just, for all MOGRTs, you just drag them onto the timeline. Before that, obviously you have to install them. So top right, install motion graphics template, click on that little button, and then make sure that the MOGRT file is wherever you found it in your downloads or whatever. Click on that and just say open, and it'll install it over here. After that, it should be in this panel over here. Make sure to just drag that onto your timeline. It'll load for a second or two, and then it will be put into your timeline here. So after that, make sure to highlight it by clicking on it. You'll see little white squares go around it. Make sure that that's highlighted, and then go to the properties panel. Again, to find the properties panel, just click on window, go to properties, and make sure that that's checked. After that, this one specifically, there will be a bunch of parameters and things that you can change. Every single MOGRT, or at least the majority of them, will have these, so you can fiddle around and make sure that it's exactly what you needed to show, or exactly the parameters that matters to you. So first of all, you can select the trader over here. We can go to fence or mechanic, or select whatever trader that this task is relevant to. Then I would recommend probably just going to the wiki, the Tarkov wiki, and just copy and pasting these in. So like whatever the task name is, make sure that you fill that in there. Obviously I'm making typos here, but quest description, describe the task you are doing here. And then all of that will update. I would, again, just recommend just going to the wiki and copy and pasting these in there, because it's just way quicker and easier to do. And then after that, I'll quickly just play. I'm going to mute my game sound so you can actually hear. I did include some audio for you here to make your life a bit easier too. So that comes in, little animation, and then you complete it, and it'll go back down. This is obviously quite large. So I think I did this in 1440p when I made it. So you can downscale the size, and that will follow the, it won't just scale down in the middle of your screen, because it disappears at the bottom when it animates out and in. You can see, I think out only actually, yeah. So it slides off screen. So when you're scaling it in and out, just make sure that you're not doing it over here under effect controls, because if you do it over here in effect controls, the borders will get scaled in, and then when it animates out, it'll get cut off at the bottom of your screen. So I've included all of that stuff over here for you to play around with. So all the parameters are here. Whatever size you want that to be, it'll be at the bottom of your screen, and it'll stay nice and neat. That's the first one. I'm quickly going to go through a bunch of them. Obviously, these are all Tarkov focused MOGRTs, and if you don't play Tarkov, you want to do assets for a different game, please send us a tweet or an email or whatever, and get in touch with us. We would love to make different assets for different games, but we're only starting, and we'll definitely expand to more common games like maybe Minecraft or Battlefield, or maybe some MMORPGs or Call of Duty or Fortnite, or whatever games are being played a lot and is in need of assets. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll create assets for the game that you need. The next asset I'll show you quickly is just called Highlight Box Circle. I don't really have a great name for it, but we'll drag that one in quickly. Again, it doesn't have the fancy branding or anything. I'm still working on these and finalizing them, but you'll see a little red square come up in the middle of your screen. Go to properties, and then there's a bunch of parameters again, like I said before. First, let me explain what this is meant to do. It's purely just meant to highlight a space on your screen. So whatever part of the frame that you want to highlight, like let's say it's this this box at the top of your screen where all of my weapons and hotkeys are for, like my heals, etc, etc. If I want to highlight that, I'll just go to position. Let's move this up a little bit. You can just drag on the blue numbers. Just drag that up a little bit to there. We go to shape settings. The size, this is for height and width separately. So let's do width first. we'll just expand the box to be as big as the box at the top there, part of the UI is. So let's say it's something like that, and then we'll crimp it down a little bit height-wise and move that into position. That's fine for now. Obviously, you can play with this forever and ever. You can zoom in and make sure that it's pixel perfect, but this is obviously just for illustration purposes. This animates in like so. It just draws a line around, and then it animates out again after a specific amount of seconds. You can tell it exactly how many seconds it needs to take to go in and out, animate in and out, and for how long it needs to stay on screen, but I'll get to that. First of all, just the appearance. Here you've got colors to play with. Maybe you want this to be a blue square, you can have it be up there. The roundness is how round the circles are. So let me just zoom in here. I usually just press H to get to the hand tool, but sometimes that's a little bit buggy. I don't know why. Premiere needs to fix that. The roundness over here, obviously, hold down Control while you're playing with these to get like a specific, it just gives you a bit more fidelity. If you want this to be completely round corners or a little bit more rounded or completely straight, you have full control over that over here. And then the stroke width obviously is exactly what it says. The inner stroke will disappear the thinner it goes, but you have control over that. So however thick you want that to be, that's perfect. The next little setting we have here is outer glow. Obviously, there's a little bit of glow on the edges here. You can't see it too well because it's in a bright sky, but it is there. The opacity, you can put that down or up that a little bit. The radius, again, is just how far away from the line the glow goes. So if you don't want any of that, you can just make all of this 0 and it'll be 0. Drop shadow, same thing. So let's say we don't want any of this glow nonsense. We just want it to be a super clean box. Let's say we make that white, put OK, stroke width, let's just make it big for example's sake. Outer glow, let's make this 0, intensity 0, drop shadow, you can have a drop shadow be as far away and as bright as you want it to be. Whatever color you want this to be, you can do that too. Obviously that'll be absolutely horrible, but you can do whatever you want with it. There's size to make it blurry, and then noise, you can add noise into it as well. Inner glow, the same concept as outer glow, but it's on the inside. On white, it won't show up too well. I'll just make that 0 because we want this to be, you know, quite a simple square. And animations, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. So as I said before, the animation draws it on like this, and then at the end, once it's been on screen for the set amount of time you want it to be, it'll draw out again. So it'll just come on screen and go off screen again. Those timings are set here. So animation in start time, I would always just leave this at 0 because it starts the in animation at 0. So it starts immediately wherever you put this, wherever you put the MOGRT on your timeline. So just leave that at 0. Animation duration, this is in seconds, how long it takes for that animation to happen. So let's say if we put this to 3 seconds, this animation will take much, much longer, but it'll complete. And then it will stay on time. I mean, it'll stay on screen for as long as you want it to. So animate out start time, 5 seconds into it. So let's do in and out. You can see the timing over here, 3 seconds at around 5 seconds. You can see over here, I can actually do this to show you properly. So 5 seconds is our work area, and it'll start animating out. So animate out start time. This is just how long it stays on screen in totality. So if we make this 10 seconds, it's gonna stay on screen for 10 seconds exactly, that you can see 10 seconds, which is our work area over here, and it'll start to animate out. And this is super useful for literally anything. Like let's say someone's peeking this window, for example, we can drag a new one on and we can say, oh, someone's peeking this window, let's move this guy over to the window. Something like that. Someone's peeking that window. I'm not going to fiddle with all the settings again, but let's say it's blue. Someone's peeking this window. Be careful of the window, whatever. If you want someone to look at a specific place, this MOGRT works really, really well for that. Something kind of in the same vein as that is another one we just called shapes. It's literally is exactly what it says on the tin. It's just a bunch of shapes. So it's just a bunch of circles, etc., etc. Go to properties, make sure that it's highlighted, and you can select whatever shape you want. So this is a circle, circle 2, circle 3, crosses, and then a bunch of arrows, which I think is kind of useful sometimes. This is a funky little arrow, and then there's a super basic arrow. Basically, all of these, they just animate on like this. You can see they kind of just wiggle a little bit. There's a little bit of movement. My computer's kind of struggling to keep up, but you can kind of see what I'm getting at. Again, you can change the color to whatever you want. If you want the color to be, you know, a specific thing to fit your theme, you can do that. And that's literally all it is. The animation speed here in seconds, if you wanted this to draw on over the course of 2 seconds, you can have that be the case, and it'll draw on and draw off the same speed. Stroke width, same thing. If you want this to be a skinnier shape, you can have that be the case, or if you want it to be thicker, you can have it be thicker. And there's a bunch of shapes to choose from. So if you want something to be crossed off, it's super easy to do, and there's literally no hassle. Sometimes it's so tough to find, you know, these exact shapes and then to download them and import them. If you just drag this on, you can move this anywhere you want. You can even use the motion thing just reset it and say, oh, this is the optic that I'm using. Let's go to circle number 3 and just have that be there. And there's just no fuss, and it's just easy to do. Honestly, that's what all of these MOGRTs are meant to do, is just to make your life easier. I also included a little bit of audio if you want that there. If you don't want it there, you can just delete the audio and it should be fine. Anyway, yeah, whatever color you want, however long you want it to be on screen, you can do that, and that's that. Next one is just a super simple typewriter little title. There's nothing fancy about this whatsoever, but sometimes you kind of just want to type something in a typewriter way, and you want it to come on screen. So this is literally what we designed this for. It's super simple, and I feel like Premiere Pro just doesn't have an easy way of doing this, so we created this. Here you can type whatever you want. It can be a title, or it can be, like, let's say we want this to be raid number 1, right? That'll just type on with some sound effects of key presses. And there's also a blinking cursor that'll stay there. And then you can animate this off any way that you want. The font size obviously increases or decreases the font size, and you can pick whatever font you want. So let's say we want this to be Arial Black, which I'm a big fan of. Increase this font size a little bit, and then that will just write on with the little sound effect. And that's that. You can also decide what you want the blinker to be. This little blinker that goes at the end of the title, you can also play with. So the cursor type, I have it at vertical bar at the moment, but you can have it be underscore. Zoom in here and just get a frame where it is actually showing. You can have it be underscore or dash or less than or whatever the symbol is, etc., etc. I prefer the vertical bar. I feel like that just looks a little bit authentic. And then also the cursor blink speed. So how many times a second you want this to blink, or you can just turn it off completely. And I kind of like this. I haven't included a font color yet, but if you, literally the same with all of these, if you just want to change the color, just go to tint and just add a tint effect to the MOGRT, and you can map black to whatever, or you can map white, which it is white, by the way. You can map white to whatever, so you can change it that way too, but I'll probably update this and add a color picker too. I just don't want to overcomplicate these MOGRTs, because I feel like the reason that they are helpful is because they're simplistic and they're easy to apply, and I don't want there to be too many settings to complicate things even more. So if you want to, change the color of any of these MOGRTs, add a tint or add whatever effects you want to it, and you can do it that way. That's about it, guys. I'm not going to go through every single one. All of these are on the website, so you can go around and play with all of them, and each of them I'm aiming to have a set video made for each product so that you actually know what you're buying and how it will be used. I don't want this video to be too long. I kind of just wanted to give you guys an overview of exactly what MOGRTs are and how to use MOGRTs and what ours look like, and what you kind of can expect in terms of quality and usability, etc., etc. So thank you so much for supporting us. I really, really appreciate it. If there's any MOGRTs and stuff that you would like us to create, please send us a DM on Twitter. I'd super appreciate it. We'll see you guys around. Thank you. Bye.